You gotta be kidding me. And no matter what, if you're a 40 plus fart like me, start listening to your heart. And not only listening to it, when you speak from it.
If you cannot handle real work, reality talk, 80 plus language, simply skip the video.
Whoa, it is so, I have to check if it's actually recording. It's so freakishly raining, but still, we're gonna do a little vlog. And, you know, with my vlogs, like I said yesterday, I'm still trying to find my voice and try to get somehow in contact with the algorithm of YouTube, that they give me a little bit more viewers. So no matter what, and if you haven't watched my vlogs before, my vlogs are about sharing the strategies that I'm using to pretty much do everything from the phone to maintain a life of freedom. I'm sharing all the red flags of people that I so-called collected along the way of a lot of failures. I'm now 46, I started selling door to door when I was 11. And okay, so what I always think, no matter if people are good or bad, I never judge somebody. I always learn something from them. And this is my personal opinion about this. If you can do 10% better, no, if you can take 10% of somebody who, let's say, for example, in the most simplistic way possible, you know, if you look up to a guy who's a billionaire, if you do 10% of what he's doing, you're a millionaire, right? And it's the same with, I don't know what, if you can do, let's say, 10% of the singing or musical capabilities and or sports capabilities, you understand where this goes. But for me, I'm also very interested in people who mess up in life. For example, myself, I did a lot of messing up in my life, but I want to talk about one very extreme example of feeling sorry for himself. And he actually showed so many signs and red flags, but also there is some sort of circle that he stays in, and that is, of course, I'm never judge anybody that somebody is bad and or good. The thing is, this person, yeah, he's in a not in a bad, he's not in the greatest mental position, let's say it like this, but he's also not willing to put in the work. So what did he do to actually show that he's not in the best mental position? So for example, he is, because this person stays in the Airbnb that I'm staying, and if you're watching this, you know, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, you should stop messing around. Anyway, this guy is pretty much every day crying and talking with people on WhatsApp or whatever he's using, and he likes to express his so-called love. That is all great, but let's get to some red flags that you can take away from this specific clip. When it's about red flags, when somebody constantly hammers on the fact that he, in this case, he constantly mentions that he really goes all the way for those people, also, you know, that he loves them, but he doesn't say this just once in the beginning and once at the end, non-stop. So there is something that is a huge red flag. There is a simple way of saying there is no speaking from the heart in it, 100%. But I'm still talking about the same person, and probably this whole clip will be about this same person with the same character. And the thing is, I'm gonna mention multiple characteristics that probably could be, if you notice them from one of the people around you in your circle, then you know that they're not 100%. Which means they probably do have somewhat the right intentions, but they never have, you know, the right intentions to do good for you. They have needs. There's a difference between people, for example, people like me, we just give and we don't expect anything in return. You know, I don't actually, you know, feel mostly most of the time very uncomfortable when people do something in return. So this is not to talk that's how good I am, no, not at all. My vlogs are all about trying to provide as much value as I can, so you don't fall into the same pitfalls and or make the mistake that I made with this guy. So one of those things, he's every day. I can hear him now also in the kitchen. Yesterday again, half crying. He has lost his father last year, but you know, that is the last year, get over it. And some people who think that is very rude and or very, how would you say it, and that I'm without having any feelings for another human being. No, that's not at all. I had never have met my own biological people, and besides that, my mother left. She died when she was 29. My father died when I was 31. But when it's about getting over it, the thing is, the next day I was busy in my business. You know, just move on, who gives a shit. So just to give a little bit feedback on this one, because maybe some people who watch my vlogs for the first time, they will say, yeah, but what do you know about it? Well, this is what I know about it. So okay, so that he lost his parents, of his father last year. And the thing is, I understand some people need a little bit more time, but the thing is, at one point you also need to get over it, because the world doesn't care. And the thing is, and what I see from him, and I can hear his phone calls with the people, you know, they tolerate it. They keep on tolerating. And the thing is, when you get in this spiral of thinking that the world, you know, does you a disservice because somebody was taken from you. And this is also another thing. This person was on a good age, so you know, there are also people who never make it to the 24 or whatever. But the thing is, those people, they also start attracting each other. The moment that you start complaining non-stop about stuff and crying about it and telling how much you love the world, but in the meantime you cry every night and you cannot be alone. And that is another thing. Look at people, and let me do a little bit of disclaimer in between. My vlogs are not for sensitive people. My vlogs are for people who want to do something in life and provide value to other people. You simply cannot provide value to other people when you're just a mental wreck. And of course, I have been a mental wreck, but I always realized this cannot go on for a long time. Yes, I used huge amount of drugs and alcohol just to crush myself, but I always enjoyed the crushing, and I never really spread a lot of negativity when it's about, oh no, I'm so sad today. So what that this person also did, because I spent one day with him, which is of course very embarrassing, because this person, and we were sitting in front of the supermarket, just, you know, because I want to take him to several neighborhoods, but you know, I already knew that he was a little bit of a mental case. And if you're watching this, it's with all the respect, but in the first hour that I actually spoke with him in the kitchen, he said he kidnapped a guy or whatever. He put him in a plastic bag and dig the hole or whatever. But see, people like me, we're not stupid. I look at the size of his hands, I look at the way he looks out of his eyes. He probably buried a midget, with all the respect. But if he had to bury a person like me, and this is not to brag, you know, there are signs, things that don't add up. And when things don't add up, you start bending your own reality. And I talked about this multiple times in my vlogs, right? When you start bending the reality, you end up in a dark hole. Not only in a dark hole, every time when you don't keep your word, every time when you lie, a door of opportunity closes for you. And you know what? See life, I see life sometimes like this. You walk through a big hole, all the doors are open, but every time when you treat somebody with disrespect and or you lie and or you don't keep your word. The thing is, there's one door closing, and if you repeat it once more than enough times, then not only it's one big hallway, but it's also a hallway that becomes a slippery slope downhill. And this is simply about lying, denying the reality, but also once people on the slippery slope downhill, this person is simply on the slippery hill down. And no matter what I would do, you know, he would be feeling because I'm going to somewhere, because he showed physical expressions that I already knew this one is gonna break. Because yeah, when you hang around with, yeah, I can call myself a very real person, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. So I could see. So we were sitting outside of the supermarket over there, because again I want to take him to let's say a more humane interaction neighborhood over here in Sofia, Bulgaria, but you cannot disrespect people over there. So I took him to a supermarket. So we're sitting over there on the table outside, and there's a couple sitting next to us. Well, first of all, he starts complimenting the girl. Well, you shouldn't do that. If somebody is a couple, and or there were also a bunch of colleagues, he was telling that one guy was dressed better than the other one. You know, you make people feel uncomfortable. And this is the takeaway from this little tiny mini story. On top of that, he said, after he made his, he made another joke. There was the couple was sitting over there. He took a stick, a wooden stick from the bushes, and he gave it to the guy. This is the best thing I can offer you. See, first of all, that is also the most disrespectful thing you can do, in my opinion. You make people feel uncomfortable because they think, yeah, what are we gonna do with this? And the guy was also really very polite. I have to give him this, the other guy. And the thing is, this person who did it had his mental wreckage. He actually also said, does my joke make you feel uncomfortable? That the moment that you say something like this, you know that there's something wrong with it. Or somehow you know deep inside there's something wrong with the action that you took. Because otherwise you're not, you know, you give somebody a present and you would say something, does this present make you uncomfortable? Because you know there's something wrong with it. You don't ask if there's something, if other people would feel uncomfortable, blah blah blah. If you do know inside, you know, that there's something wrong with it. So he actually did this, and after he actually so-called apologized, because he said, because I told him you cannot do this, because I also told him if you would come with me to some other neighborhood and you would do this kind of tricks, because I don't see it it's no joke, it's no nothing, it's just disrespect, and I call it just a disrespectful trick. If he would have done this in the wrong neighborhood, yeah, he would be passed up. And you know what? This is the case. Who is walking with him? Me. Who will they remember? Me. And this is not to brag, but you do know how I look like at the moment when you're looking at me. I also don't speak the way other people speak. I have a much higher energy than other people, so people do remember me. But the people who actually coming to the place that I'm staying and then cause troubles, you know, for me that is, I don't want to have this kind of negativity around me. So another red flag, when how people treat other people, you know, that is so incredibly important. But next to that, and this guy has another one, another red flag, when he drinks he starts to act drunk, very drunk. And there is a difference between drinking and not acting drunk, and drinking and acting drunk. Well, he did the last thing in a very, very over obvious thing. Another red flag of an unstable person, and a red flag and an obvious sign of a person who is maybe at a bad place in his life, you know, mentally. Been there, done that. So another thing, take away from this clip. What else? Oh yeah, because I was sitting with him on the table, and he kept agreeing about the fact that I actually made him aware. And this is again what I said in the beginning of this clip. He kept repeating it, but in the meantime, the more he started repeating it, the less he started believing it himself, because his left eye, because I was sitting on the left side, started to twitch more and more, and I already thought, that's not a good sign, and because I'm doing this for a long time, so you cannot fool me very easily. And even people who are in the game of fooling other people, and like I said, I had strippers as exes, and no, I didn't pick them up in strip clubs because I didn't believe those people who go there, just weak people who cannot hook up with women without actually paying them for to get there. Anyway, besides that, so his eye starts to twitch, but I didn't listen to what I saw. I listened to my heart, and I thought, you know what? Let's still take him to church, because that's what I'm doing. I'm lighting up a candle for the people who are not over here anymore. So, you know, I thought, let's give him at least one more chance. Take him to church, because that was actually the plan. But and when we were in church, blah blah blah, emotional stuff. But of course, a person with that kind of negativity that he wants to actually express constantly, to actually get people on board, because those people also want to constantly be confirmed that they're right. You know, it's good to feel bad. No, it's not. And I will also get to another point. But so, okay, so we went to church. What is he doing? With his drunk head, lights up a candle, turns off other candles. And on top of that, with his hands, because I don't know if everybody knows how it looks like when you light up a candle. So there's a big plate with sand, and you know, there are other people, their candles. But you know, I do believe, and that's what I also do think, is the most disrespectful thing when you make that you turn off other people their candles, because you cannot act normal. And next to that, he already bended his own candle in his pocket. Another thing, you know, put it in his pocket while he was walking towards the place of lighting up the candle. So many red flags in a short amount of time. So another thing that you could do, see how people behave when they're drunk, and not only that, how they act in church. After that, and now this twitching of his eye starts to make sense. So I walked out of the church with him, and because in church, oh yeah, another thing, the moment he walked out of church, he straight away wanted to smoke a cigarette. I said, don't smoke over here in this area around the church. Now he said, doesn't matter. I said, it does matter. Walk outside the area so you can go into the park. It's next to a park, so you smoke over there. Well, a little bit outside the area of the church, the real person bursted out. He said, yeah, and you think that I am doing everything wrong? Well, I said, you have to start facing reality. There's nothing that went flawless and or respectful from your side in the past 2 hours. Yeah, in the apartment everything was good, but okay, you know, he already started mentioning multiple times how everybody is his brother, and I don't know what. The thing is, those things are not believable anymore when you repeat them 3 times in 5 minutes. Even if you would mention them 3 times in half an hour, you know, it's too much. So I already was a little bit skeptical, but I still thought, let's take him to church, because that was my plan when I came in. So let's do a little summary, right? Because when we walked out of church, he said he got angry. You think I'm doing everything wrong? Well, he didn't do anything good, nothing. So the twitching of his eye showed already that he got irritated. And once he actually showed that first sign, because he said, I'm not gonna do it again, I understand that I did something wrong to this couple. 5 minutes later, he did it to another person. What did he do with this person? This person was just sitting over there and he talked about how bad people treated him in other countries. A person who doesn't know you doesn't care. Probably even his own, let's call them, I don't believe that he is real friends. At least not the ones that would actually, you know, walk the extra 10,000 miles. Yeah, cry with him. That is a nice thing for him. But let's say in real life, you don't want to have people who cry all the time, right? You can cry once in a while, you know, 4 times, I don't know what, 10 years, if you got a good reason. But don't cry so much. And I'm talking to men over here. I'm not talking to boys. And oh, wait a minute, before we're getting into the boys and the man things, this person is actually 40 plus. And if you're watching this, I don't mention your name, I don't send pictures, I'm just sharing characteristics of and also yeah, I'm just talking about it. And if you can notice those signs, what I'm saying, what I've said in this clip, you can prevent problems. Because I prevented the problem that he probably got beat up very bad in another neighborhood, and he could. And if you would see, if you would see it now, he probably going to say, "I'm stronger than I." No, he's not. I saw the size of his hands. I saw the, you know, I see the inside of his hands. There's nothing that shows that he's training, and or his knuckles. See, one of my knuckles is totally knocked in from old days. You know, this one is anyway. But his hands were still clean as a whistle. He has very tiny, you know, hands. You know, in combination with, you know, that he kidnapped the person, put it in the car, put it in a plastic bag. That requires a lot of work. And not only this, never underestimate how heavy another person is. You know, yeah. So there were so many red signs, and I prevented, yeah, that I could get in way much more trouble. And if you, maybe one of my first vlogs was about a person when I was drinking with somebody in the supermarket, and you know, the people asked us politely, don't drink in the supermarket, so I said, just throw it away. But this person stood against them and wanted to show a little bit off. I don't know what the deal was, but also him, he was not in a good mental position, I know. But still, you can get in trouble with those people. And again, my vlogs are for people who are a little bit more high level energy, but also, you know, want to do better in life. And if you, the person who wants to do better in life, you cannot allow yourself to hang around with that kind of people, because they will take you into problems that you have to solve. Probably, you know, if you get legal problems. You know, I had many legal problems because of other people. I had a lot of financial problems because of other people. Not because I'm blaming them, I blame myself for not having the filters. Because like I also mentioned in previous vlogs, I was always, and still always, I am emotionally involved in any kind of engagement with another person, meetings, relationships. But now I'm more into, I have to protect myself, so I'm setting boundaries. You're too late, good for you. That you don't have any loyalty. You don't keep your word, etc. Those are my boundaries, and that's why I want to share in my vlogs. And yeah, this person did in a very short amount of time a lot of red flags. So maybe we can summarize, if I remember them all. I think one of them is very important. The physical part of disagreement. So he's already not honest about what he speaks. Which also says another thing. When you're not honest about what you're saying, you also think that other people that other people not believe you, so you need to say it over and over. That comes back to another thing. When he speaks with his people, you know, I don't believe that they're 100% behind him. The thing is, he repeats it every. Let's put it on a very realistic number, at least 4 or 5 times per 10 minutes, and I think that's too much. Any normal human being knows it and can feel it. And not only this, let's assume that this person does not want to be in this state of mind for a long time. Well, if you watch my vlogs, my life is about discipline and also cutting off rotten apples. Weak people. Yes, you can discuss your problems. I discuss sometimes my problem, and still I excuse myself because I feel, but when I do this, I already came up with solutions, tons of solutions. And if I would involve somebody into a solution, they would benefit from it financially. So that's how I like to take care of problems. And most of the times I'm just doing it by myself, and or maybe 1 or 2 high level trusted persons on my side who are actually most of the time then also involved. But you know, this is the thing about 100% people. When they cause problems, they are willing to solve it with you. Weak people let you solve it by yourself, you know, and or just cry along with you. Because another very clear sign about, I need to check if there's still battery in the camera. Another clear sign, all his friends, they're all, somebody died, somebody this and this. You know, I'm 47. We all have people who died. But if you keep on focusing on the, oh yeah, they were also so much focused on girlfriends that they broke up, you know, all kind of things that are actually going on when you're 16, you know, then you maybe have a little bit more emotional. Well, come on, when you're 40 plus, there is so much more in life to be very grateful for. I think at 40 plus, and this is not me labeling people that you have to act a certain way on a certain age, but I do believe when you are still mentally a man-child at 40 plus, yeah, you got a problem. And or you haven't been through a lot of stuff enough. And if that's the case, you know, and that is the case, because if there is an overdose of going through a lot of stuff, you grow an elephant skin, no matter what, whether you like it or not. And I built one. And I also now have a set of boundaries, a whole freaking wall of boundaries. Like I said, no matter what, if I like you or not, and you're too late, you play around with your phone around me or whatever, done. You put yourself on a lower pedestal and less attention for me. Of course, short amount of time, I don't have problems with any of that, but you know, disrespect in a way of not on time, lying, all lies, you know, the lower lies. This person also lied multiple times, and you could see it. People want to see if you actually believe it. So what are they doing? People who are so used to lying and also used to people around them that actually allow it, they start looking at you in a more intense way. Does he believe it? Doesn't believe it? I see. And of course I didn't put the tactics on him, because you know that there is no reason for me to do so, and there was no reason to do so, because for me he just stayed over there in the room, and I don't have any problems with him. But I think it's an interesting case. It was so over the top, you know, that it's, I think, an interesting person or a situation, and or a little bit of, yeah, personality. Yeah, we can actually not say that's a real personality, because he's very weak. I cannot say anything else. And this vlog, this specific vlog, I think vlog number 85 is not about crushing another human being, because again, I don't put him with his freaking face on the camera, nothing like this, but I'm just discussing a person who acted in a specific way. And of course I don't know everything about this guy, but if you try to make other people feel uncomfortable, red flag. If you agree with somebody but all your body language says different, you cannot hold back, because time will reveal it in your own behavior. You don't even have to tell me, I can see that you disagree. And it doesn't matter. For me, I'm not emotionally involved with this. I'm just interested, I'm just observing you, but the moment that somebody starts lying, denying, and or other stuff that is disrespectful, they become subjects. And now, for me, he's a subject, an interesting subject to talk about, and you can take away something from it, probably, because there were multiple characteristics, like the twitching of the eye, and at one point an outburst, but everything in a very short amount of time. So you can imagine, if I squeezed it out in less than 2 hours, you can imagine what this person does when he hangs around with 5 of those. Those people go in groups. Misery attracts misery. Greatness attracts greatness, and also the opposite. But I'm not saying that I'm great at all, but I am living a life of freedom, and I want to give as much value as I can from the experiences that I'm running into, and this was one of them, and this was very current. I think tomorrow I will talk about several situations that I had when I hired people. I'm going a little bit deeper into those people, but yeah, today I want to keep it like this. It's freakishly rainy. Yeah, so maybe it's time. I also need to recharge my phone, my camera, and maybe upload this. And that's pretty much it. I think I'll talk for a long time already. Take away something from it, people, because there's always, and this was a handful, and you just look at your friends and or close people, maybe even colleagues. If they show things that they're needy, they express with words, mostly with words, that they love you and or whatever, on such a ratio that you think, no, that makes me feel uncomfortable. And this is another thing, when it makes you feel uncomfortable, listen to your gut. There is something wrong. And no matter what, if you're a 40+ fart like me, start listening to your heart. And not only listening to it, when you speak from it, from the heart, with emotion. Be involved in the moment. Don't pretend that you care, because time reveals everything, and your own behavior shows it all. How do you walk? Let's also end with this one. This person also, when he walks, like I said, I always like to observe people when they walk alone. Slouched, bend over, you could see he's not in the best place. Anyway, again, nothing against this person at all, but I hope that there are some people who take a little bit value from this, because there are multiple people, probably in many situations, that at least have a few of those characteristics and or behaviors that some of you watchers would now be more aware of, and try to drag it out. Just ask what's going on, what's wrong. Get angry? Good. So we know. Angry is a very real expression, right? Like love, hate, real. Love it. Anyway, subscribe, follow, if you found some value. And if you're the guy where I'm talking about, you probably know, because it happened only in 2 hours. Beautiful, right? Okay. Ciao for now.